Um, there have been changes to the east elevation. There are fewer windows, and I think that has a lot to do with what's going on the other side. But in addition to that, there's a sign that will add visual interest, and something that's very difficult to see on this image because they're going to be darker colored is a decorative lighting that in particular at night will add visual interest to the side facade. And I think you can see four of those light fixtures on that wall. The site plan, maybe to the naked eye, doesn't look very different at all. The building has expanded, though, about 15 feet to the south from what was approved in December, and about 5 or 6 feet to the east, and maybe an equal distance to the west, to accommodate, again, what's going on inside and what's needed to make this arena functional and attractive to its users. In addition to the building elevations and site plan, it's going to be important to keep in mind the landscape plan. We've been reviewing refinements to the landscape plan based on authorization provided by P&Z. We don't need you to reapprove these, but I can tell you that the amount of landscaping that Luke has planned on this site is close to twice as much as would be required by ordinance were this not in a planned unit development district. So in addition to this building, you're going to see a lot of lovely landscaping of various sizes along the foundation and in this particular site. Our recommendation, and then I'll turn it over to anyone else or Luke or Greg with additions, is that the P&Z adopt this motion approving the revised architectural plan set and exterior elevations, subject to the condition that we as staff are authorized to approve engineering, landscape, and lighting plan changes that go along with it. And that all other conditions of your December site plan approval would continue. Just as a quick aside, those continue to allow us as staff to work out details on how walkways might look and the design of the archways and where garbage cans might be located and benches, some of which will be available on opening day, some of which will be added as experience with the facility becomes apparent. Thanks very much. I'm happy again to answer any questions or share information as you would like to see it.
Thank you, Mark. Is there any questions from commissioners at this time? Is the applicants or Brandy, are they unmuted, or anything that the applicants want to add before we move on to discussion?
I can jump in here, Jim. It's Luke Stoffker with Cascade.
Thanks, Luke.
I guess just kind of explaining where we went to, how it evolved and the reasoning. I think we were probably like dangerously close to Mark and everybody being okay with not coming back, but then we kind of tipped into a gray area of the building size and some of the rendering stuff. But really what it was is step one, I think the building has evolved to a point it's better than what I brought to you guys in December. And we just continue to kind of evolve the interior of the building, which of course you guys aren't reviewing or looking at, but we've got really exciting stuff going on in the interior. As such, back in December, we just weren't in a position to get to that point. Obviously, we were trying to develop the site plan and the buildings and the apartments and get going on that. And as we dove into the arena and kind of figured out what our user groups were going to be, what they needed and their space wants and needs, the building grew about 5,000 or 6,000 square feet. Mark, pointed out from a site plan where it grew. So we don't think it was significant from the standpoint of, I think we were at 37,000 and change, and now we're at 43,000. So in the scope of things, not major changes, but enough to where Mark wanted to make sure you guys were on board with it. But what we did, in that is all the user groups. We've got a lot of spaces, locker rooms, training facilities, a whole host of other things. And as we were going kind of down the laundry list of what we needed and what we wanted in the facility, we just kind of kept growing and moving spaces around. And we got to a point where it just made sense to make the building a little bit bigger. And we future-proofed it a little bit too. If we want to add more stands, if we think the project's going to be successful and the arena will be successful, and if we wanted to continue to evolve inside of that, we gave ourselves a little bit of room to grow, and I think that's probably the biggest reason of the size change. The elevation change was really a lot of us understanding the type of building we're building, how we can achieve a certain look to make sure everybody's happy with it. And then also the uses. I think the biggest thing on the east side, with getting rid of the windows, and as I had to try to explain to some people, windows and hockey pucks, they don't go well together. And of course, there's probably a number of expensive ways you could achieve certain things to get a fake window, but essentially that east elevation is now exposed to the rink, and we didn't want to end up with broken glass every other week trying to deal with that. And I think the compromise for us was signage, and the lighting that Mark talked about is up and down lighting. At the same time, he pointed out we added a ton of interest on the south entrance, kind of the back of the entrance. That looks really nice now, a lot of glass. And then that outdoor patio really evolved to a point where that's probably the key feature of the building. And from Highway 51, it visually is going to be a really cool looking aspect of the building that kind of improved as we went. So all in all, personally, as my project, I think we made a number of improvements. We're happy with where we're at. I've shared this with a lot of people throughout Dane County and even nationally that have seen these projects and rinks and been around hockey, and we get a lot of really positive feedback on that side of things. So yeah, I think I'm open for questions to kind of continue to explain, but I think really we just kind of made some tweaks, and those tweaks got to a level where I think Mark wanted to make sure it wasn't his butt on the line for saying, yeah, you're good to do that.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Luke, and Mark, and everybody else. I do appreciate what you're saying. I think, sorry, I'm sort of saying things that maybe I shouldn't, but I appreciate the changes and say the outdoor space that you added with the upper deck and stuff, but I do also appreciate that there's enough changes that it probably warranted coming back to us, being that they're all not just say some aesthetics and things like that. But overall, I'm impressed, but I'll open it up to other commissioners, comments, questions. I'm going to clip around so I can see people on the screen, but so far I see everybody's muted.
I'll make a motion.
Brand, yep, can you,
Colleen.
who was that? Was that?
That's Colleen.
Colleen, okay, there you go. You make the motion, you want Brandy to pull up the suggestion.
I think she might have frozen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I think you're right.
December site
Oh, there
plan.
she's back.
Okay, Colleen, you froze up, so we didn't catch any of that. So you're gonna have to reread it. Yay, you.
It froze up again.
I think she's frozen again. Well, shucks.
Next commissioner up.
Yeah, does anybody
Yeah,
else?
I don't think I can take that motion without it being read, even though I know her intent, so.
I'll make a
motion.
All right, who's gonna go? Shannon?
Sure, I'll go.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to recommend that P&Z approve the revised architectural site plan and exterior elevations for the DeForest Yards Ice Arena site and building, subject to the condition that the village planner and engineer are authorized to approve engineering, landscape, and lighting plan change consistent with these revised plans and with P&Z's December 11th, 2023 site plan approval.
All right.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah,
There's a
I'll
motion
second
on
it.
the floor, and I see Jean just seconded.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion or comments? Clicking around a little bit. I guess earlier today I sent a email to Brandy with a couple things. I think some of those can be dealt with staff, but the one thing I wanted to bring up is the east elevation, if that warranted discussion. And I guess, Mark, did you see the email? Sorry.
Yep, I sent everything on to Mark. He's pulling it up on the screen right now, Jim.
So Jim,
Yeah.
I forwarded this on to Luke and Greg. Jim, your first comment was to create different pavement treatments to emphasize the south building entrance, and we forwarded that on to Luke and Greg, and that's we appreciate the comment. That's certainly a detail that we can work out with them. And then secondly, the screen suggests that, you know, if there's equipment that's not terribly nice to look at, that maybe it could be screened from people, you know, the public walking into the building, which is another, I think, good detailed comment.
Yeah, and I think those are all, say, part of the condition as written, where staff can work with that, and unless another commissioner has a comment, again, I wanted to talk about this east one, if this is worth actually putting in a condition, or if that's, again, something staff can work with Luke and the team.
And Jim, so I understand your recommendation. Go ahead, Jim. So I understand your recommendation. It's to add another brown sided area between the two that were on Luke and Greg's elevations that were before you tonight.
Yep, I just personally thought that got to be pretty long distance without a change in facade. I don't know if there's any rules that we have with that, but I don't really care where it is. I just thought it might be prudent to do a third one, but again, I'm open for, that's just my opinion, so. Mark, do we have an ordinance on the length? And thought we did say with industrial buildings, but I don't know how appropriate stuff is here.
So, Jim, our standard that you're remembering correctly is that for building facades that are 100 feet or greater, they need to have some architectural variation, and we give some examples in the ordinance as to what those might be to meet the standard. It's your judgment, obviously, in this plan unit development. I felt given the extension of the entranceway with the windows, the remaining sections of the brown differential siding with the windows within them, the addition of the sign, which I think adds a decorative element to this, in addition to obviously advertising the space, and these light fixtures that you don't really see but will be, you know, you get lost in the scale here, but my guess is that these are 5 feet, 5 feet tall. I think, in my opinion, that met the standard. Beyond that, it's just a judgment call that I wouldn't, necessarily substitute mine for yours.
Right, and I think what's hard to tell by looking at the building elevation is how much the landscaping will break up the facade too.
Right. Yeah, that is certainly a consideration that I had, is that, we have street terrace trees. Behind the terrace trees, there will be ornamental trees. Those are the smaller trees. And behind those, there'll be a fairly dense cluster of foundation landscaping that will, range from a couple feet to 6 or 7 feet tall at maturity. So, those will matter and help the elevation as well.
I just want to jump in for a second. I appreciate the suggestion. I have some concerns about.
I'm sorry. You'll need to state your name, Greg, for the
and
record.
who you're representing and all that sort of.
Yeah. Right.
held,
Yeah.
with Bruce Architects, and I'm working for Cascade Development on this. So I'd be a little hesitant to add another wood tone element on that east facade. I think we'd be starting to look a little bit striped. I think just having the accents is a nice touch, but I'm a little bit worried about going much beyond that. We could, you know, if we'd have looked at this, I mean, this is essentially similar to what we had as far as the colors of the materials previously. If that had been a concern, we might have looked at doing something different with the size of those panels or something, but that ship's kind of sailed a little bit at this point with the metal building. So I would be hesitant. I think we can look at what the landscape's doing for that, what the lighting and the sign are doing for that. And I do think that the size of that is in scale with what we're doing. So I'd be a little hesitant to introduce another accent element on that facade.
But thank you, Greg. Any other commissioners care to weigh in if they feel it's needed or it's good as is? Yes, I'm sort of seeing a lot of silence, which I'm assuming, or I'm reading into it as it's probably good as is.
So this is Jean. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I talk over someone? Oh, so sorry, I'm kind of fighting with an outside lawnmower here. I like the way that it looks. I think it looks balanced, and I think that it is probably somewhat deceptive, like the lighting there, that we actually can't physically see what it, how the light fixtures will look. I like how the building looks. So I'm okay with what it looks like right now.
This is Colleen. I agree.
It looks balanced. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm done.
Yeah. Thank you. And Colleen, you're speaking.
I'm in agreement with Jean. It looks good to me. I'll put my faith in the architect.
Okay.
This is Mike.
Thank you for that discussion. What was that, Mike? Sorry, I talked over you.
No, that's my apologies. No, I'm good with it as well. I like the look. I think it's got sufficient elements in it, and I can support it.
Okay. Well, thank you. So back to the motion that we have on the floor from Shannon and seconded by Colleen. Is there any other discussion?
It was seconded by Jean. Colleen was having technical difficulties.
I thought I said Jean. Sorry, I'm thinking and talking different.
That's okay.
Okay. So if I can ask everybody to unmute their phones or cameras, and we'll take this to vote. So all of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you all very much. Brandy or Mark, whoever is controlling the meeting, can you pull up the agenda? I think that was it for us, correct?
Yep. Now we are just looking. Oh shoot, my computer, of course, isn't catching up with me here. We're just looking for there's no presentations or discussion on the agenda.
Yeah.
Any other business that lawfully comes before P&Z, all we have is the next meeting date of August 27th. That'll be a regular P&Z meeting. And now, Jim, we would look for a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, thank you. And I should have mentioned I did get on the computer so I can see the screen during that conversation, but
okay.
I'm still using my phone for the mic and things. So
Thank
you very much, Brandy. Sorry for all the technical difficulty, but like Brandy said, we're looking for a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
Make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mike.
Second.
Second, I'm going to call that as Jean. I didn't see who that was on screen, but
I think it might have been someone else, but I'll do it.
I think it was Colleen.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give Colleen that one.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
All those in favor of the adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all. We're adjourned at 6:31. Have a good night.
Awesome.
Before you guys head out, just real quick, two things, Luke, with Cascade again. One, from what I understand from Mark, this was not a regular scheduled meeting, so I forgot to thank you guys for coming on and taking 30 minutes out of your Monday to do so. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's helping us keep the project rolling and on track. Second one is you'll all be getting an invite. It'll go out this week. We're going to have a groundbreaking. Me and Bill Chang have been talking about doing something for the rink piece of it. So that's coming out. It's going to be September 10th, a Tuesday from 4 to 6. And I've got Mark Johnson, the women's hockey coach, is going to come out and say a few words, and we're going to have a fun little event. So to make sure all of you guys that can make it would be awesome. I wanted to make sure you saw that coming soon.
Thank you, Luke.
Thanks, Luke. It looks like a nice facility. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, we are too. There's a lot left to do, and it's different. The apartment stuff and hotels, that's kind of, I would say, easy, but we do that all the time, and this rink was a different one. So it was it's been a fun one to be involved in, and I think everybody I run into and talk to, or I know around the village or the general area of DeForest, everybody's pretty excited about it. So we're looking forward to get rolling on it and get it open for sometime middle of next year.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. That's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Luke. We appreciate you taking the time as well.
Thank you all.
All right. Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
This turn on. Hit the wrong button.